Good day, grade 10 Rizal. Now we are done discussing about the definition and understanding of Marxism or Marxist approach. So here we are going to discuss what is feminist approach or feminism. Feminists are the gender relationships of the characters in the story. It advocates gender equality, especially towards women. It also examines how some aspects of our culture are inherently patriarchal or male-dominated. It says that advocates gender equality, especially towards women. So you can identify it as Marxist approach in a specific material, whether it's poem, stories, movies, novels, and etc. It is talking about all genders having equal rights and opportunities. Also, it's about respecting diverse women's experiences, identities, knowledge, and strengths, and striving to empower of all women to realize their full rights. Also, to give you a short history background about feminism, it is originated from the French word féminisme, coined by a utopian socialist Charles Fourier. What do you mean by coined? Coined means invent or who invented or discovered that specific word. So feminism was the first used in English in 1890s. This also in association with the movement for equal political and legal rights for women. In late 14th and early 15th century, in France, the first feminist philosopher Christine de Pizarre, challenged the prevailing attitudes towards women with a bold call for female education. Before, in their times, female is not allowed to have an education or to study. Their responsibilities is to help in house chores and sooner or later to become a wife. You can see the discrimination and inequality towards the women. They think that woman is a fragile or weak. That's why Western women provided a fight to increase educational opportunities, the right to vote, protections against women and workplace discrimination, and the right to make personal decisions about pregnancy. In some communities, feminism has also succeeded in challenging pervasive cultural norms about women. That's why there are countries fighting for the women's rights, especially our country, Philippines. Our country has an active group or activists that's supporting the campaign for women. Also, in our country, we have the law to protect the women's rights. Good day, grade 10. So for the next slide, we are talking about genders. When we say feminism or feminist approach is talking about the gender equality. So the first one, focus on the language and systems that are used and how that the language or use of symbols is gendered. So it emphasizes or it says that how that language and use of symbols is gendered. For example, in a sentence, she participated well in the activity today. So we heard the word she to tell that the one who is participated well is a girl because we use the word she. When we say use of symbols, for example, we can notice in a public place like comfort room. Boys and girls don't use the same CR, right? You can see in the outside or place in a specific door of the comfort room, the symbols of male and female, and colored it by pink to represent it's for girls only, and blue for boys. And also, there are professions that uses a specific term to identify it is a male or female or to be gendered. Like for example, policeman, policewoman, fireman, firewoman, congressman, congresswoman. So that are the examples for statement number 1 for you to understand. And for the next one, feminist literary theory asks us to consider the relationships between men and women and their roles in society. So much feminist literary theory reminds us that the relationship between men and women in the society is often unequal and reflects a particular patriarchal ideology. Those unequal relationships may appear in a variety of ways in the production of literature and within a literary text. Feminism theorists invite us to pay particularly attention to the pattern of thought, behavior, values, and the power in those relationships. For the last one, it is concerned with the ways in which literature reinforces or undermine the economic, political, social, and psychological oppression of women. So here, they are concerned overall about the concern to fight the rights for a woman. Like I said, specifically in economic, political, and social. So it means they fight to increase educational opportunities, the right to vote, protections against workplace discrimination, and the right to make personal decisions about pregnancy. So those are the examples that they want to fight for. So that is for the third statement. So now let's move on to the next slide. In this slide, you may notice some questions that you may consider to identify if it's feminism or to identify if the specific literary work use a feminist approach. The first one, is the author male or female? Second, is the text narrated by a male or female? Third one, what types of roles do women have in the text? Are the female characters the protagonists or secondary and minor characters? Do any stereotypical characterizations of women appear? How does the author's culture influence his or her attitude? What are the attitudes of male characters towards to female characters? So you may notice here in those questions are in favor for the rights of women, considering the characters of the woman in a specific story, poem, or novels. That is the questions that you may consider in identifying a feminist approach. So in this slide, let's proceed for the example of feminist approach. So you may see here the picture of this, the movie Mulan. So what is the story about Mulan? A young Chinese woman who disguises herself as a man and joins the army to save her father's life. Though, as a girl living under a patriarchal regime, she is technically unqualified to serve. But she is the only child of his father, and also his father is too old to fight to a specific war. So she cleverly impersonates a man and goes off to train with her fellow recruits. She uses her smarts to help ward off a Han invasion. We can say the story of Mulan is a feminism or use a feminist approach. Why? Because the fact that feminine or a girl can be strong also. That a female can fight just like any other male warrior. And that encourage under fine is the true testament to being a actual decent human being. So that is the story of Mulan that we can consider as a feminism or use feminist approach. So overall, again, the meaning of feminist approach is the advocates gender equality, especially towards women. So it is about all genders having equal rights and opportunities. Also, the rights of a woman about respecting diverse experiences, identities, knowledge, and strengths, and striving to empower all women to realize their full rights. So that is a feminist approach. Goodbye, grade 10 result. Thank you for listening, and I hope you understand well what is the meaning of feminist approach. Thank you and keep safe, everyone.